Okay, well, I think we'll just gone past now. We've still got a few people joining us, but I think I'll run through a little bit of housekeeping before I kick off the webinar. Just to introduce myself, as for some reason I can't change my name on here. I'm Nicole Core, and I'm the Marketing Director here at Medigold Health, and I head up our webinar programme. So we're delighted to be starting 2024 off as we mean to go on with a really insightful webinar called From Blue Monday to Brighter Days, Promoting Mental Wellbeing at Work. And as I say, we've got over 1,200 people registered. So it promises to be a really sort of engaging session. Just a little bit of housekeeping. The session is being recorded, and we will send out a link to the recording tomorrow via email. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And please feel free to share that recording far and wide as well. The other thing is, as some of you have already found out, we've got the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. Please feel free to drop in questions for our panelists throughout the session. We've got a Q&A section at the end of the hour, so we'll get through as many of those as we possibly can in the time given. In terms of the slides, we don't actually give out slide decks. They are actually also one of our products. We give these webinars for free, and they are actually one of our products. We don't sort of send the slide decks out, but we do send that recording to the webinar, so you can revisit it in that format. We've got over 500 people tuned in already, and it is 25 to 1. So we've got a packed agenda, so I'll hand over to our panelists now to kick you off. Zoe.
Thanks, Nicole. Hi, everybody. My name is Zoe. I sit within the Training and Consultancy team. I am also a mental health first aider and have been for around 15 years. But also I've got a background in public health improvement and supported employment. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Adele Edwards. I'm lead health and wellbeing coach for Medigold. I have over 20 years experience in public health, including midwifery and psychotherapy.
Thank you, Adele. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Barrie Norman Jnr, and thank you for taking the time out to attend the webinar. I am the mental health awareness coach and operational lead for the training and consultancy team here at Medigold Health. As Zoe's kind of already alluded to, the team and I deliver a suite of health and wellbeing related training courses ranging from disability awareness and neurodiversity training through to supporting businesses to become disability confident level 3 employers. I'm also a qualified mental health first aid instructor and personally delivered over 185 MHFA courses, and I'm also the sole suicide first aid instructor for Medigold. And prior to this role, I was in the military for just over 13 years, but was medically discharged for PTSD and generalized anxiety disorder in 2014. So like others, I do bring a level of personal lived experience to the webinar and our training courses as well. As Nicole has already said, over the next hour or so, Zoe, Adele, and I will take you through this webinar. As Nicole mentioned, please don't be afraid to ask any questions using the Q&A function. None of us profess to know all the answers, and any asks that we're not too sure on, we will take details and we will get back to you. Before I start, I think it's really important to acknowledge that these topics and themes of all of our webinars can be triggering for people, so for a variety of reasons. So please ensure you have contact details for any support that you need. We will be sharing some great resources towards the end of the webinar as well. So our pathway over the next hour or so. We're going to debunk the myth that is Blue Monday. We're going to look at understanding mental health further. It is a buzzword, but is often used incorrectly. So what does mental health actually mean? Because it does, misuse of that language does exacerbate stigma and discrimination. We're also going to look at the potential signs and symptoms of suboptimal mental health. We'll look at self-care strategies. And also then Adele is going to take us through the world of health coaching and how that can be a massive benefit. So he's also going to share some really valuable resources. And then, as we said, we'll wrap up the webinar with some time for questions and answers. So what is Blue Monday all about then? So Blue Monday refers to a concept that claims the third Monday of January is the most depressing day of the year. The idea originated from a press release by a travel company in 2004. And there's a bonus point for anyone who can type in the Q&A function the travel company name, and they claimed to have calculated the date using a formula that took into account various factors, such as weather conditions, debt levels, time since Christmas. I see Thomas Cook comes in there, Tui's coming in there, Laura, and time since failing New Year's resolutions. It might be a bit before Thomas Cook and a bit before Tui. EasyJet, Charlie, some guesses going in there as well. So it is important to note that the scientific validity of Blue Monday has been widely criticised. The formula and the factors considered are not based on rigorous research. Okay. Mental health experts argue that mental well-being is a complex issue that cannot be accurately predicted by a specific day on the calendar. So I'm just looking at the other ones. I've got Lund Poly, BA, Sharon Rayner. I'm not doing the whole come on down, Sharon, but yeah, Sharon, Sky Travel back in 2004. They're the ones who created this hype around Blue Monday.
Sarah did mention that as well, which she said Skynet, which I think's
yeah, fair Skynet. Sorry, yeah, good shout. So while the concept of Blue Monday has gained some cultural recognition, it's crucial to approach the discussions around mental health with sensitivity and avoid oversimplifying the complexities of people's emotions and well-being. Mental health concerns arise at any time of the year, and individuals facing challenges should seek support and understanding. The goal of this webinar is to promote understanding, provide support, and empower you all, us all, to take positive steps towards our own mental well-being. It's crucial to approach the topic with sensitivity and to avoid reinforcing the notion that a single day can determine one's mental health. So let's set the scene with some statistics around mental health. Over 1.5 million people experience both debt problems and poor mental health. As many as 24 million adults don't feel confident managing their money, but only a third of people in financial debt actually receive any help. And those experiencing financial stress are twice as likely to experience suicidal thoughts. 12.7% of all sickness-related absence days in the UK can be attributed to mental health conditions. And up to 300,000 people per year with mental health concerns lose their jobs each year. Some further harrowing figures around suicide. 1 in 5 people in England have suicidal thoughts. 1 in 14 people in England self-harm. 1 in 15 in England have attempted suicide. 46% of people who die by suicide had a known mental health condition. So let's start back at the basics with what mental health actually is. So mental health refers to the state or a state of well-being in which an individual can cope with the normal stresses of life, work productively, and contribute to their community. It encompasses emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and involves factors such as resilience, coping mechanisms, positive relationships. Good mental health contributes to an individual's overall quality of life, which we'll see shortly when I hand over to Zoe. Poor mental health. Poor mental health refers to a temporary or persistent state in which an individual experiences challenges and or difficulties in their emotional, psychological, or social well-being. It can manifest as stress, anxiety, low mood, or any other symptoms that impact daily functioning. Poor mental health doesn't necessarily imply the presence of a diagnosed mental health condition, but suggests a decline in mental well-being that may require attention and support. Mental ill health or mental illness refers to a diagnosable conditions that significantly affect individuals' thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and their overall functioning. These conditions are often more severe and persistent than poor mental health and may require professional intervention for accurate diagnosis and therefore effective treatment. Mental health or mental illnesses include a range of disorders such as depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, PTSD, and many others out there. So in summary, mental health encompasses a positive state of overall well-being. Poor mental health indicates a temporary or ongoing decline in mental well-being, which may or may not involve a diagnosable mental health condition. And mental ill health specifically refers to the presence of a diagnosed mental health condition or conditions that specifically or significantly impact a person's mental and emotional functioning. Understanding these distinctions is really important for promoting mental health awareness, reducing stigma, and ensuring appropriate support and ultimately intervention for individuals at different points on the mental health spectrum. I'm now going to hand over to the lovely Zoe, who will elaborate a little bit more around mental health.
Thanks, Barry. And thank you for going through those different definitions. Hopefully people identified that there was common themes through there. So there was words like thinking, feeling, reacting or behaving, and also the word social well-being came in there. So really highlighting though as well that mental health is something that we all have. We're not excluded, you know, it doesn't just come into play when we're unwell, but also it interacts with our overall health. Okay, and I like to think of our overall health, which is different for each and every one of us. I like to think of it as a little bit like a three-legged stool. Okay, so the way we think, our mental, the way we feel is our physical, and also the way we behave, or that social well-being, is the third leg. And the thing is around this is that if you knock one of these legs of this stool will become wobbly. Okay, so what that actually indicates is that they all interact with each other. They're all as important as each other. So yeah, if it becomes wobbly, yeah, our head is attached to the rest of our body. Yeah, and the two interact with each other. And then that can also affect how we behave. We could also, as Barry mentioned and highlighted in the statistics, that finance could also be another leg of this stool, because of the importance and how that can affect our mental well-being. So it's looking at these and how we can identify change in ourselves and others. So we're going to use the mental health spectrum. So the spectrum suggests that we all sit along, nobody's excluded, and we move backwards and forwards depending on life events, circumstances that we are experiencing. And what the spectrum focuses on is daily changes too, that we face within our personal life, within work, and general, that definitely challenges. But one key thing to say here is that we can have a mental health diagnosis and we can not have a mental health diagnosis and still move along this spectrum. So let me go through the 4 points on this spectrum. So healthy, sorry, Nicole, if we can go back. Healthy is where we are functioning normally. We're active, we're communicating well, we're physically healthy, we're doing the things that we enjoy doing. And like I say, we can feel healthy with or without a diagnosis. With a diagnosis, it just means that I need a little bit more additional help and support. So not a negative. Because I say that because a lot of people think that once we've got a diagnosis of a mental health condition, we're down in dumps for the rest of our lives. We can't thrive, we can't reach our potential. But that's a myth. Of course we can. The next step on the spectrum we've got is reacting. Okay, so this is showing signs of distress in response to a situation. That situation can be anything. That could be a deadline in the workplace. That could be a change, within your job role. That could be moving house at home. Or I know for me personally, and I didn't actually realise I was in reacting phase until I reflected on it afterwards. You know, my children starting school. I didn't realise, but I was in reacting phase. But with reacting phase, it tends to be low-level symptoms and only maybe more noticeable to the people that know you well. Okay, so our inner circle. whereas injured is stepping up a gear. This is when we're having frequent negative feelings and a more broader range of symptoms that are starting to affect our functioning. Okay, so going back to that three-legged stool, it's more visible the way that I'm thinking. It's more visible that I might be experiencing physical symptoms, and also my thought process is changing. And this one is a lot more obvious to other people. And that's the key thing, is that we don't actually always realise that we're moving up this spectrum, but hopefully other people are looking out for me and can identify that. So ideally, we're picking up at the reacting and at the latest, the injured phase. But we know that doesn't always happen, unfortunately. Some people do get to the ill or unwell stage on this spectrum, where we need professional help. This is massively affecting our day-to-day life, work and relationships, and we're having chronic difficulties. And that's absolutely fine. It just means that we need a little bit more help and support to move back towards the healthy part of the spectrum. So the earlier we pick up the signs and symptoms, the more efficiently we can manage and move along this spectrum, rather than it being a bumpy ride. So let's pick up on some more of those signs and symptoms, potential change. And one thing I will say is that this list is not exhaustive, but the key message here is being able to identify change. The more we know an individual, we tend to be able to spot the changes. But also, it's not just about spotting it in others, it's about spotting it in ourselves too, because, yeah, that early intervention can be vital. So what we've done is we've broken potential signs of change down into 3 different areas, linking back to that three-legged stool. So signs of change in the way we think, feel and behave, or socially interact, we can use that to identify it in others. So yeah, the way we think and feel in this instance is more our cognitive ability and how we feel emotionally. So yeah, mood swings, maybe not feeling any emotion, that numbness, difficulty just making day-to-day decisions. Am I having sugar in my cup of tea today, or am I not? The simplest of things that we would normally never question come into play. And also my thought process is more on a negative side rather than a neutral and a positive. Physically affecting us, a lot of people are really in tune with the physical side, because as a society, that's what we've been told to be in tune with. But some people might not realise that that's linked to our emotional well-being too. So like muscle tension, headaches, we hold ourselves differently if we are feeling, tense or feeling quite stressed, and that can cause lower back pain, definitely tiredness, fatigue, sleep. Oh, sleep is massive. Yeah. You think about a couple of nights where you've had broken sleep or just not great sleep, how that affects your confidence, you're questioning your ability, and even sort of like just making decisions, and also that lack of self-care in there. With regards to behaviours, sort of like and social, linking into lifestyle changes, which Adele's going to link more into later in the presentation. But yeah, that social withdrawal, not doing the things that we enjoy doing, losing my sense of humour are a big one, when normally I'm up for a laugh, But I think the last one on there, making mistakes, near misses, presenteeism, where I'm in work and I shouldn't necessarily be in work because it's not an advantage to me and also to my employer, or just not being there at all. And this is one of the reasons why the health and safety executive have really got on board with mental health and really taken a charge and putting it in line with health and safety now. Because actually, some job roles or how I get to work, unknowingly, I might be putting myself and others in risk or in danger. So the earlier we can spot these signs of change, hopefully we can reduce and manage the impact that can have on ourselves and also others. So potential risk factors for someone's mental well-being. We're going to show here on the screen. And how we've grouped this is by using the biopsychosocial model of well-being. Sorry, I had to slow that down so I'd say it right, because it is a mouthful, is that sentence. Okay, so identifying risk factors. So again, we've broken this down in that three-legged stool, and as you can see, it crosses over, they're interacting with each other. This is a model from George Engel, and it was created in 1974, but it's still a well-respected tool today. Because when we look at theory around psychology, they're looking more at nature or nurture. Well, actually, this brings everything together and just showing that interaction. But one thing I will say about risk factors is that some of these things that are highlighted on the screen, people might not even realise that are a risk factor. You know, where I'm born in the country, for example, or my genetic vulnerability, they might not put the two and two together. Or like we said about physical health, a lot of people forget that our head is attached to the rest of our body and the two are interacting. So some of these things we can't change. Yeah, can't change where I'm born in the country. Yeah, I can't change my genetics or, you know, my neurochemistry. But there are other things that we may be influenced to be able to manage the risk factors and try and offset them. So we call these protective factors, okay, which is what we do within workplaces, within occupational health, you know, within society to try and offset and to allow people to thrive and reach their potential. So things like coping skills, social skills, you know, we can learn these at any point in our lives. Yeah, and also they do change over time, or even the people that I, you know, surround myself with. So don't think that not all these things we can't influence. Yes, some things happen out of our control, but some of these things we can grab hold of and really take the reins. So if we can identify risk factors, like I say, we can offset them. And self-care is one of those big protective factors of how we can offset these risk factors. So we are going to explore self-care a little bit more. We know what's good for us, yeah, but how often do we do it? Yeah, and I'll fall victim to that too, you know. I know what's good for me, but, you know, I am that person who runs around like an headless chicken, yeah, for everybody else, and then I am the last. Well, actually, you know, when we think of self-care, it's not selfish. This is self-preservation, okay? How I like to think of it is that you are king or queen bee of your hive, your network, and we want it to stay that way, okay? So it should be at the forefront of our mind, not the last. And also, another important thing to think about is that, especially if you're in a position where you're supporting others, yeah, if you're not in a good place yourself, are we then in the best place to support others? Okay, so just something really to think about there. So I'm going to leave you now with Barrie again to explore this a little bit more.
Thank you, Zoe. I fully agree. As they say, you can't pour from an empty cup. So there's some fantastic information which you shared there, some things which I've learned as well. So I want to talk you through the 10 keys to happier living, which are on the screen there. These are principles developed by a movement, an organization called Action for Happiness, and they aim to promote happiness and well-being. These keys are based on scientific research and expert advice, and are designed to provide guidance for individuals seeking to enhance their overall happiness and life satisfaction. So let's look through those 10 keys now. So first one is giving. Engaging in acts of kindness and generosity, generally helping others and contributing to the well-being of the community, can increase and create a real sense of connection and purpose. Relating, this is all about building and nurturing positive relationships, connecting with other people, fostering meaningful connections, and investing in social bonds will contribute to our happiness. Exercising or moving more. It is essential taking care of our body. Exercise or moving more is associated with improved mood, increased energy levels, and overall well-being. Being mindful and appreciating the world around you is about awareness, taking time to savor the present moment, express gratitude, and notice the positive aspects on life can really enhance our own well-being. Learning, as we are all now, continuously learning and trying new things, engaging in activities that challenge and stimulate the mind contributes to a sense of accomplishment and that personal growth. Setting and working towards meaningful goals, i.e. direction. Having a sense of purpose and sense of direction in life can really contribute to our increased satisfaction as well. Resilience. I mentioned it earlier on. Developing resilience in the face of challenges, learning to bounce back from setbacks and adapting to life's challenges is crucial. It's that bounce back ability, stealing that term from Soccer AM. Emotions. Taking a positive approach to managing positive emotions, cultivating a positive mindset, and learning to cope and move forward and move on from those negative emotions. Acceptance is about embracing who you are. Accepting oneself and others, including our imperfections, is associated with higher levels of life satisfaction. And then finally, meaning. Being part of something bigger, being part of a team, engage in activities that contribute to a greater cause or purpose, whether through work, community, or our personal endeavors, can empower us and provide a huge sense of fulfillment. These keys aren't rigid rules, but rather general principles that individuals can adapt to their own lives. People may find different keys resonate more with them, and the importance of each key can vary based on an individual's preference or circumstance. And the idea is to incorporate these principles, these core principles, into daily life to promote overall happiness and well-being. Continuing with the drive to improve our self-esteem and how to get started to make these changes, I'm going to hand over to Adele, who's going to talk us through health coaching. Over to yourself, Adele.
Thank you very much indeed. And if you are interested in self-care, then health coaching might be something for you. And I'm going to take some time to tell you a little bit more about it. So health coaching is holistic, confidential, and person-centered. It encourages and facilitates individuals to consider how their physical, social, and mental health can impact their overall well-being and recognize their own strengths, knowledge, and lived experiences to problem solve and reduce wellbeing barriers. It's important to note that health coaching is inclusive and adaptable to individual needs. Health coaches support people to increase their ability to self-manage their mental health and develop a change mindset, improving their motivational levels and increasing their commitment to making better lifestyle choices, and will enhance their overall well-being. Now, a good health coach, if they ask the right questions, they can talk about past successes that people have already had, about making changes within their lives. And from this, you get to ask the individual about some of the skills that they used. And that's great because it gets to highlight the strengths, knowledge that the individuals already have. So they're not starting from the beginning when they're making changes. Now, we have quite a few areas that we work on as health coaches. And we usually work with individuals for 6 to 12 sessions. As you can see, there is a list there of the areas that we support. At the moment, weight management, moving more, and general well-being and making healthier lifestyle choices tends to be the most popular areas, although we are seeing trends within stress management and also people asking about sleep management as well. During a discovery call, if you were to come and have a conversation with me, I would ask you what you'd like to do more or less of regarding your well-being. And I would also tell you that we don't expect you to climb Mount Everest or swim the Channel. And we focus on progress and not perfection. So to help focus the goals, we look at things that are realistic and obtainable to you at the moment, including mini goals each week to help individuals achieve their overall goals. With stress management, it's important to note that stress management may not always improve with lifestyle changes. Therefore, coaches can also provide digital cognitive behavioral therapy, ECBT, for individuals needing more than just lifestyle modifications to manage stress effectively. Health coaching is not a one-size-fits-all service. It is a bespoke and tailored service to each individual. Next slide, please. Thank you. So there is a strong link between mental and physical health. Research suggests that poor mental well-being can impact physical health. It can cause digestive issues, sleep disorders, and headaches, and lead to more serious medical conditions. Moving more reduces the risk of major illnesses such as coronary heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and lowers your risk of early death by stroke. Lowers your risk by 30%. Hybrid working has reduced people's physical movement and contributed to more sedentary lifestyles. On top of this, it has reduced opportunities for social interaction with colleagues, increasing feelings of isolation that can lead to low mood and cause individuals to make poorer food choices. In a recent study, it was suggests that 47% of home workers don't leave the house on the days that they work from home, which is quite an alarming statistic, and that is right across the UK. Often when we experience mental health challenges, we tend to find it harder to be physically active and make lifestyle choices, which can in turn exacerbate poor mental health. When our mental well-being is not in a good place, we not only move less, we engage less socially and stop doing the things that we love, which can impact self-esteem, confidence levels, and also motivation. Next slide, please. So how can health coaching help? So health coaching can help by addressing sedentary lifestyles. Moving more is a common goal area for participants engaging in health coaching. Health coaching can provide personal strategies to increase physical movement, combat the sedentary habits often formed due to hybrid working or working full-time from home, and help to reduce mental health challenges, in turn leading to better lifestyle choices. Again, a reminder that health coaching is inclusive, bespoke, and adaptable to each individual. It can also provide nutritional guidance. Coaches can offer advice and around balanced nutrition and to counteract increased calorie consumption, which will indeed help improve mood. It can create sustainable habits. Coaches can help people establish long-lasting health routines, ensuring changes made are not temporary fixes, but long-term improvements. That's why we focus on progress and not perfection, and realistic and obtainable goals. Supporting mental health. By linking physical health with mental health, coaching can help alleviate the psychological impact of modern work-life challenges. It can also help with personal action plans. Health coaching provides tailored action plans that cater to individual needs and preferences, encouraging greater buy-in and better results. Basically, we're putting individuals at the heart of everything that we do. Holistic approach. Coaching considers all aspects of an individual's life, offering holistic recommendations that encompass mental, emotional, and physical health that has been mentioned earlier within this conversation. Again, it is bespoke and a tailored service. Accountability and motivation. Health coaches serve as participants in an individual health journey, offering accountability and motivation for them to achieve their personal well-being goals. For those who are more isolated and work from home full-time, a health coaching session becomes a form of a social contact to increase motivation within itself. Next slide, please. So what can employers do? They can lead by example. They can encourage managers and leaders to actively participate in wellbeing services and set positive precedents for all staff. You're more likely to get involved in wellbeing opportunities if you see other people within the company that have already done so. Increasing awareness, regularly inform staff and promote the use of the complementary wellbeing services and support options available through their their employment benefits. Share success stories to illustrate the positive impact of these services and promote engagement. Enhance the wellbeing support you offer. Consider integrating health coaching and digital cognitive behavioral therapy within your organizations. Make information available. Disseminate wellbeing information widely, utilizing your organization's intranet, email bulletins, and physical postings in communal areas. And it's also important to be mindful of individuals who work from home and may not necessarily get this information. Foster open dialogue, designate mental health advocates, and establish a mental wellbeing network that provides frequent opportunity for informal discussion. Ensure inclusive engagement, engage all employees regardless of their working arrangements, whether that be remote, shift, in office, hybrid, or working solely from home, to share their diverse experiences and perspectives. If you'd like to know more about health coaching, then please reach out to Medigold. And I now pass you back to Zoe, who will advise you on what employers can do to support employees.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Adele. So yeah, just building on the ideas that Adele introduced, not only with health coaching, it can apply across the business. So yeah, finding a balance just isn't down to the workplace, though. I do want to say that it is also an individual responsibility too. But as a manager and the workplace, it does play a role. So even though, you know, as employers, you can't provide 100% work-life balance, because that's different for each and every one of us. And it's not the standard 50-50 either. Again, it varies person to person for your employees. Because like I say, we have to take personal responsibility too. And if we need to change anything with regards to our attitudes or also like our work, our home life, you know, that's reinforcing the empowerment model that we are taking ownership over our own mental health and wellbeing. But there are things that companies can do to help workers to find and to maintain that balance that's right for that employee. So here are some workplace practices employers can adopt to ensure that they're supporting their employees to get that right balance. So the first one we've got there is encourage a culture of openness. You know, so if we can, if we do feel that we've got a voice, it's a lot more empowering. And also if we feel that we are under pressure, being able to stand up and be able to say that, because it's not necessarily just going to be one person. You might have a spokesperson for a team too, but it's that openness culture. Train managers, colleagues to be able to spot different signs and symptoms that we looked at earlier that can stop stress and poor work-life balance in its tracks, and definitely encourage stress relieving activities. Adele talked quite a bit around flexible, hybrid and remote working where possible. So yeah, not just in health coaching, but just generally. But I think COVID has really advanced that option more so now than it ever has. So yeah, looking at which option works best for the individual. Definitely encouraging breaks where we can throughout the working day. So trying to get away from that working at the desk and, you know, not getting away, because actually that 5 or that 10 minute going to get a brew or, you know, just a bit of fresh air can actually provide clarity. It can help us problem solve and also stretch the limbs in some way, shape or form if required. And also as well, it's about encouraging individuals to take their annual leave, you know, rather than it being that same conversation at the end of the year of, right, how many days are we carrying over? And, you know, some workplaces say try to encourage people to allocate so much in sort of like a quarter or in sort of like a third of the years. So we've got that balance throughout, so we don't get to that point of burnout or exhaustion. Also, regularly reviewing workload and making sure it's achievable. There's nothing worse than thinking you're feeling that you're bogged down by a workload, but then you just can't see that light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, making sure that it's achievable for all. This is quite an interesting one, increasing support for parents and carers so that they're not forced to leave. And what we mean by that is that it's, and we know everybody's different, but sometimes we lose brilliant talent because of maybe not that flexibility around being able to cater for people that are looking after others, or childcare. So we're not just talking about mums, but also carers are a biggie around here. We do not realise how much of an impact that takes, and how much energy it takes with certain individuals. So yeah, a really important one. Asking employees what would improve their work-life balance. And the key word there is ask, okay? Because what we tend to do is put things in place. It's all with good intentions, and then we've forgotten to ask the person what is going to work for them, you know? So yeah, make sure that that person that we're building a plan for, or we're looking at adjustments for maybe, that they are solely involved with it, because we're more likely to adhere to it. It's more likely to be successful and work all round for the employer and the employee. And then the last one that we've got there is allowing to attend sort of like counselling and wellbeing support services if necessary, because there's no other alternative maybe of times or days or availability in working hours, exactly the same as we would as medical appointments too. So yeah, just the person at the forefront there. Some more potential ideas, or sort of like linking back to what Adele said, was lead by example. Is a biggie. So, you know, if you're not taking your breaks, if you're not leaving the office sort of like on time, or if you're sending an email out of office hours, are you practicing what you preach? Are you showing that you've got a healthy work-life balance? You know, so the more that we can lead by example, the better. I know in certain workplaces it's about giving employees time to volunteer. That I've seen in certain organisations that I've worked for. So it's more of a motivated by social action rather than just simply getting paid. Linking back into the 10 keys that Barrie said as well. So that meaning or purpose, or, you know, the give, the greater sort of like being. And yeah, there's always the talk around work perks or no perks. Just some examples there, but yeah, hopefully that gives you a flavour. Okay, so before we nearly wrap up the session and we move to the support services and the Q&As, we've got a little bit of a task for you here, okay? So one small things can make a big difference, okay? So we're going to challenge you now to think of 3 good things that have happened to you in the last 24 hours, okay? And I'll explain why I'm asking you to do this in a second. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes, and if you feel open enough to do so, please feel free to put it in the Q&A, and we can share it with others. One thing I will say, there's no pressure to come up with 3 good things, because I have just put you on the spot. So at least think of one good thing that could help. So yeah, I'll just give you a little bit of time to do that.
We've got some coming in, which is lovely to see.
Ah, fab, yeah. Dog walk, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Had a good tea last night. That is always the way to my heart, is food, drink. Yeah, they always seem to be my 3 good things. And if someone's made it for you, or if it's free, a freebie is always a good one, isn't it, for one good thing? Yes, connecting with colleagues, yeah. Met with friends at the pub quiz, yeah. So linking back to the 10 keys for happier living that Barrie touched on, you don't have to actively go out and do 10 things to, you know, you can 2 or 3 things cross over, and connect is definitely one of the best things, because connecting with others, it's the cornerstones of our lives, isn't it? We are social beings. Yeah, it tends to underpin everything.
Oh, there's
cuddles. Yeah. Pets are a massive one, aren't they? We underestimate the power of pets. Yeah. We mostly share everything with our pets, and they're one of the family as well. Or lunch, yeah, walk. So yeah, physically active in there, maybe learning something new. Yeah, bus was on time this morning. Love that. Yeah, out of our control, but yes, I love it. Yeah, back to the gym. Yeah, definitely.
I didn't burn the tea last night. I like that one. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Fab, amazing. Thank you so much for for sort of like sharing some of your 3 good things, or even one. But yeah, lots of common themes that I'm seeing there. Are you seeing that as well, Nicole? There's quite a lot of common themes.
Food and pets is food, pets, and walking is yeah.
Definitely.
There's a couple sleep in there as well. Lisa said to manage a full night's sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, get into the recommendation of between 7.5 hours and 9 hours sleep for the average adult.
Yeah. Love it.
Exercise ones as
Eve's
well, actually,
Labrador.
moving around a bit, going back to what Adele was mentioning. So that's sort of moving more. Lots of people are picking back up after the Christmas period, and deadlifted, no pain, first time. Well done, Tim.
Oh, brilliant, amazing. One of my 3 good things, or like which I try and get as often as I possibly can, because I know that's cheating a bit, because we should change our 3 good things within a day, but mine's just going to the toilet without anybody watching. Anybody else feel my pain there, or is that just me? That's not just kids, that's pets as well.
Oh, dogs. Yeah, my dog.
Yeah, definitely. It says something if you have to go to the toilet for 5, doesn't it, really? But yeah.
I think people are going to have to watch the whole webinar just to get the full situation, full consensus of this idea. Just hearing that on a whim might be a bit questionable, but yeah, I hear you, Zoe.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. And the reason why we've asked you to do that activity is because, believe it or not, what it does is it realigns your thinking. It's not positive psychology, it's about appreciation. And also what it does is it gets you to think about the small things, not necessarily just the big things, okay? But if I were to challenge you to do this every day for the next 2 weeks, okay, this has been shown scientifically to have the biggest increase on well-being in such a short space of time. Okay, and it's free. Yeah, we don't have to pay for it. Sorry, Adele, I know you were saying you were putting your health coaching up there, but yeah, it's free. We can all do it. But one thing I will say as well is that what time of day that you do it can also have an impact too. So maybe if you struggle sleeping, because sleep was part of the 3 good things there for some people, that yeah, think about the good things that have happened throughout the day. We go to sleep on positive thoughts. Or if you just need a little bit of a G up in the morning, yeah, do it first thing in the morning. So we're starting our day on a positive. But yeah, scientifically shown to improve our well-being. Okay. So why wouldn't we want to, have a go? It may be easier for some than others, but if we put that time, that energy in initially, it just comes naturally. Because what it's about is embedding, good practice, so that we don't have to stop and restart. And one thing I will say is that there's always something good that happens within a day. Yeah, it's hunting for the good stuff. It's just that, are we on the right vision, the right line to be able to see it? So hopefully you found that little activity useful. And the last thing just to share with you is some support services where you can find out more around some activities like we've just done now, and also good, credible information. Yeah, because there's so much out there, okay? What is good, what is credible, so these are our national organisations. Our crisis numbers are on here too. There's some apps that you can download, so there's a variety on there. But one that I do want to sort of like focus you towards, which I think is amazing, and I use it regular, is the Hub of Hope. Okay, if you do take anything away from today's session, please take away that. But just to say that I'm not on commission as well, just for Hub of Hope, but it is amazing. You put your postcode in and it brings up all the wellbeing services on your doorstep. Okay. It is the biggest wellbeing directory that we have in this country, and everybody who's on there has been vetted. Okay, someone's been to see the whites of their eyes to make sure that they are doing what they say they are doing, and it's regularly updated because we know we lose services too. So yeah, And I'd just like to say thank you for getting involved today and engaging, and hopefully there's been something on there for you. So I think we're moving to Q&A. So thank you very much.
Well done, Zoe. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you, all of you. What a wonderful, engaging session. We've had so many things come through. I love that. It's like really heartwarming to see everyone's 3 things. And as always with these sessions, I've learned lots of bits as well. I just find them great. So huge thank you to our panelists, and huge thank you to our audience as well for getting so involved. We've got 7 minutes left, team. So I'm just having a look through. Barrie, I see that you've answered a couple. I don't know if there's one that sort of sticks out to you that you think would be good to kind of discuss.
Yeah, there's a couple around, obviously, suicide. The topic of suicide come up, a topic which is particularly close to me from my own personal experience, around men in particular. Yeah, 75% of suicides are men, unfortunately, due to a variety of reasons, toxic masculinity being one of the main ones, I guess. Yeah, there's a couple of other questions around. Just looking now.
Resilience, just about how to kind of promote. Somebody said about resilience.
Resilience, yeah.
Buzzword, but how do we actually sort of promote that and strengthen that people's resilience within the workplace?
Yeah, so we do have a personal resilience course, but it's all about focusing on yourself as an individual. What can I do to improve my own well-being, to make me happier as a person? I think a lot of people do get railroaded by the term resilience and mental toughness and whatnot, but it is just about things that you do to make you happy, to give you that feel-good factor, to then get the endorphins flowing and stuff. So, but there's plenty of resources out there on the Hub of Hope that Zoe mentioned, and also obviously our personal resilience course for clients as well.
Just a big thank you there to Jen, actually, who's shared some sort of bit of a personal experience that kind of relates to a lot of what was discussed by all of our panelists today, and that's the kind of link between physical and mental health, and so mental and physical and mental, whichever way around. And Jen's put some a bit about having major surgery 2 years ago and managing a stoma, which causes issues on a daily basis. Dealing with this in the workplace has affected my mental health really badly, and it's very hard to find an employer that can accommodate my issues. Jen also goes on to say about how her son works from home and has difficulties when on a camera in team meetings, so sort of that understanding. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jen. And I think that just highlights as well that link between the physical and mental. I don't know if anyone of our panelists want to comment on that.
Sorry, I was reading one of the other questions. Q&As then, sorry. Because someone asked the question around Hub of Hope, around sort of like, is it just England based? It's UK based as well. So just to put that out there. But yeah, definitely physical health, mental health, the two massively are strongly linked, and we forget about that. And like you say, the more risk factors that we've got in place, it feels like it's harder to overcome. Especially with the remote working and sort of like self-isolation as well on top of that. So yeah, small things can make a big difference, because it's about being achievable, like Adele was saying with the health coaching, and even, a starting point of the 3 good things could have a massive difference. Adele, do you want to finish off on that one as well?
Yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you for the lady who shared about her personal experience. And it's important to mention, I think a lot of people can relate to this. Sometimes you can have a not so good head day. It doesn't necessarily have to be mental health, but it can impact on your body. And also you can have a day where your body's not feeling too good, and it can impact on your mind. And I think that's something we don't talk about often enough. And these don't have to always be diagnosable conditions. And it's just that constant thing of checking in with yourself, seeing how you're getting on. And I think the more that we check in with ourselves, that's a good way. It's a good meter to find out how we're getting on. And in that respect, it will help to build resilience, or maybe get you to a point where you think, I might need to ask somebody for additional support here. And we're all here for each other. And if there are any questions after the webinar, please reach out, because we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Adele. Yeah, I think we've come to the end of the session there. It's been so engaging, so interactive as well, which is lovely. And just for our wonderful guests as well, just to remind you that you will receive a link to the recording tomorrow. There'll also be a little bit of information there about our health coaching service, because quite a few people have asked how they can access that, and there'll be some call to action details if anyone wants to get in touch about any questions from today's session. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really grateful that you found that useful, and a huge thank you to our panelists for a really enjoyable and engaging and insightful session. I might go for a walk now, actually. I was feeling that sort of, I'm terrible for sitting at my desk all day. So yeah, thank you for those reminders. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.